whole network of our ancestors. And this
True.
give regards to your father, to your mom, to your grandparents from both the sides, and the blessings that you have with all the Ganeshas in your temple. That's your
Yeah.
from where you work. So I'm very fortunate to have you on this platform. Uh,
Thank you.
so, Dr. Patki, can you take me through your childhood? What was your childhood?
Yeah. Yeah. Now I just want to find out, this is targeted to which audience?
Okay, this is related to, this is on the Facebook, so it's anyone who wants to watch it.
Okay.
This is going to be on the Zoom where you can call as many friends of yours, and I will be calling mine. And
Okay.
it will go on LinkedIn, it will go on YouTube.
Okay.
Practically, we have unfiltered audience, and over a period of time, I don't know how many people watch it because it's sitting on the shelf of YouTube.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Now this, so today what we are doing is we are just talking, but tomorrow is going to be the actual thing, correct?
that's right. Today, I'm just recording, and just also late to put as small videos, which is a very good thing to go on the anywhere. Or I won't put it at all. It just depends how it goes. So today we're just you and me. There's nobody else.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me start off. I was the second of the three siblings. So I had an elder sister who was around 2.5, 3 years older to me. And I was born in the house where I then spent the next 50 years. This was a building which was built by my grandfather. And so we had my uncle also staying in the same building. So it was like an extended family. I basically come from a family of architects, and my father was a civil engineer. And we had very humble background, and but we were taken very good care of as children. I then had a younger sister who was subsequently born around 5 years later. I went to Don Bosco, which was very close to where I lived. And I think the school made a large difference in how it shaped my personality. I think the school not only offered me formal education, but it also opened my eyes to various different extracurricular activities. And I think the teachers that then were made of different breed. They were teachers not only for formal education, but they were teachers who taught you much more and how to lead your life. And I got introduced not only to sports but to extracurricular activities like elocution, dramatics, acting, and studying was just one small bit in the whole system, and the rest made up my personality. It was I never saw my grandfather. He died very young, but uh, his beliefs and his virtues were passed down to us by telling us stories about his life, maybe by my grandmother or my father or whatever. So it was one of his wish that he had 7 children. Unfortunately, not a single one became a doctor. It was his khwahish that at least one of them should become a medical doctor. One of my uncles reached a little close. He took up pharmacy, but there was no medical doctor. So it was sort of ingrained into my brain that it was your grandfather's wish to have a doctor in the family. So actually, it was not my choice. It was a choice which was made by somebody whom I'd never met before, that I should become a doctor. And that's how I became a doctor.
Okay, that's very interesting.
I
So
managed to get into a good medical college. So I stayed in Sion. My school was in Matunga, and I went to SIS college, which was 5 buildings on the left of my building, and Sion Hospital, which was around 10 buildings on my right of my building. So it was all in that very close this vicinity that I spent the next 10 years doing my MBBS and my MD, which was a specialization, postgraduate in obstetrics and gynecology. Why obstetrics and gynecology? Because I thought at that time it was a perfect blend of being a surgeon and a physician. And I thought that was one branch which actually you gave life to somebody, you gave birth to somebody. The
Wow.
rest of the places, I think you just cured the illness. So I thought that was something which was very different from rest of the branches in medicine. And that's how I got drawn into obstetrics and gynecology, childbirth, labor, and various things. I reached a stage in life where after my post graduation, the norm would have been to start your own hospital. But my family background and my finances did not permit me to go and buy some place and start a hospital. And if something what I could afford would be in the far-flung suburbs like Virar or Nalasopara, and this is going back almost 20 to 25 years, when those places were really very, very, I can't say backward, but may not be well equipped. And I didn't want to get into a set routine practice of, starting a small maternity home and spending the rest of my life doing that. And I think I had big aspirations for myself, and that's what made me go to London to do my further studies, where I spent the best 5 years of my life, as I tell everybody, where I got exposed to a different country, along with that, different culture, different people, and the same practice, but the way they communicated with their patients and the way they spoke to their patients, the way they explained. So it was a relearning process. So I had to de-learn certain things and then relearn certain things when I went there. At the same time, I was never happy to stay there forever. Fortunately, I did extremely well in those 5 years. So my bosses were rather surprised that I wanted to go back to Bombay, knowing that I didn't have the means to set up any big practice in the main city. And but I always wanted to come back because I think Mumbai is one city which grows on you. So although I was away, but I still long to come back. So after 5 years, I came back. In the process, I super specialized myself into infertility practice, and I wanted to start off infertility in Mumbai. I came back, but obviously I didn't have the means to start infertility, so I started doing general obstetrics and gynae for the first 2 3 years. In fact, when I've given my resignation in London, my consultant was aghast and said that you will die hungry in a country where children are coming out of everybody's noses and ears. How will your infertility practice ever pick up? Where will you make your money from? But that was a myth actually, because infertility percentage over the world is same. Around 17 to 20% of couples have infertility problem. So it doesn't make you happy if your neighbor has 5 children. In fact, it makes you more sad that you don't have even one. And that is what actually I thought was the thing. Infertility was never on government uh, hospitals. It was always thought that it is only for the rich people. But we know that infertility can happen to the poorest of poor and to the richest of richest also. So once I got an opportunity to set up infertility practice, I started my practice, and that's what I'm doing for the last 20 years.
Wow. Carry us through some very difficult cases that you have looked into, and you felt
Yeah,
satisfaction at the end.
yeah. So, you have a few cases which like sort of make a mark on your memory. There's this one patient who uh, was married out of a community. So she had issues of settling down. She was neither, it was neither accepted by her family nor the husband's family. So they were virtually asked to leave the home if they wanted to stay with each other. So they had difficulty to settle. And then when this problem of infertility came up, it is always a blame game, sort of. Most of the time the women are blamed. Then actually half the times it is the problem in the man himself, which people don't understand. They feel it's a problem of the woman. So after all the investigations, we found that this was a problem in her husband and nothing to do with her, which it was very difficult for uh, both of them to accept it. They didn't have the means to do those advanced treatments. So she actually approached a lot of NGOs to sort of collect money. And in those days, I remember it was very difficult for an NGO also to give money to somebody to have children. They would give it to somebody who had cancer or leukemia or some, some accident case to some paralytic case. But to have children, it was not considered as an illness or a disease. So lots of people and lots of NGOs refrained from giving. Ultimately, uh, I wrote to an NGO as a doctor saying that, although infertility may not be a disease or an illness, but it cripples the couple more because they're emotionally and psychologically traumatized. And it is a problem in the society. The woman is ostracized. Even in big cities like Mumbai, they don't have access to, means I have women who have come and told me that we are no longer called for children's birthday parties because we don't have a child.
Oh
We
my,
are not called for somebody's 7 month goad barai or baby showers because we are considered bad omen. So we are excluded from such list of people. Ultimately, after all the effort and fundraising that we did, we managed to get her pregnant. And it so happened that the baby was born on my birthday itself.
oh my God.
The last 18 years, every day she comes and she celebrates my birthday in my clinic
Oh
with her daughter now, who's almost 18 years, 17 years old.
my,
So it is very touching that somebody remembers you after all these years, remembers the efforts that you took to sort of get her pregnant. Now, luckily, the families have all accepted them and it's all fine. But those days, she said that the only person who would actually listen to me or gave me support was you. So she, in fact, sort of is like she considers me as a brother, sort of, and says that I have this child only because you persisted, you encouraged me to go ahead and sort of have a child.
wow, that's huge. That's really huge. How do you deal with children who are born with problems, with congenital issues?
Yeah. Now, luckily in this day and age, I can't say all, but most of these problems can be detected in pregnancy within the first 3 to at least 4 months. So I think proper screening is something that should be offered to every pregnant mom. And I think this not only starts in pregnancy, but there's something called as prenatal screening. So couples who are at a risk.
Your voice is gone.
Maybe because of their age or because of their previous illnesses or their genetic disorders that they perhaps may have. I think these couples need to be counseled. These couples can be screened at in the early stage of the pregnancy, and at least 50% of major abnormalities can be picked up in the first 3 months. There are some which may not be picked up earlier, which may be picked up in the latter stage. And by the government rules, you can terminate a pregnancy now up to 20 or even up to 20, 24 if they're life-threatening problems. Some
Okay.
of the genetic abnormalities or congenital abnormalities are not life-threatening. So I think that is something that we must understand, that nobody is born perfect. And I don't think every child, we should look at somebody who's going to be achieving 90%. I don't think the marks is any benchmark to say how well or how good that person will do in their latter life. I think what children presently need is uh, attention from their parents. And what I also tell parents is not to burn out the child very early, because that is what parents tend to do. I've seen 3 years old and 5 years old going for phonetic classes, when at that age they're supposed to babble itself. They're supposed to stammer, they're supposed to stutter, they're supposed to babble. I've seen lots of children sitting, and I've seen advertisements of people saying at the age of 8 you start coding classes. I think you're killing their childhood, frankly. So I
Absolutely.
think parents have to understand this also, that most problems of learning disorders are not because the child is a slow learner. We expect too much from all children.
Absolutely. Dr. Patki, going back to the first child that you ever brought into this world,
Mm.
what was that experience like?
That must have been some child who, in my training in San Hospital, because we used to have lots of 10,000 odd deliveries in a year. So we used to have just children popping out every minute. But the first child I independently brought out as my practice is somebody who's 22 years old. And in fact, last week got engaged. So she came and she spoke to me, and she said that we are now going to get married next year. Hopefully, it is going to be a big celebration. We are waiting for this pandemic, hopefully, to become less. And she said that you are going to be one who's going to be actually doing the bidai for me,
Oh,
because you have delivered me. So she's 22 years old, already married.
wow. So, how do you feel when you meet these little babies which are grown up and they come to your office? They come celebrate your birthday, they're there with you, they think of you.
It's an extended family. Frankly, it's an extended family, and the work that I do of infertility, I think those people feel that their lives have been so much incomplete without the child, and once they have that child, they feel that their life, the whole that their whole life is complete. I feel happy that I am and that God has chosen me to do this work. And I feel that I'm blessed that I can use my skills to bring so much of love and happiness in their lives. So I feel, in fact, privileged, and I feel so much love that I feel that it is all the worth the effort, and if you have to stay up all night for somebody to have their baby, it is all worth it. Because as I said, I think this is the only specialty which truly brings life into this world. The rest of the specialities are only curing somebody, or maybe when you say that some heart patient has had a second life, but we are the ones which give them the first life. So I feel, as obstetricians, we are truly blessed that we take part in this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful moment of the couple,
I
and we
mean,
are part
you're
part
included
part of it.
in celebrations.
Sorry.
Included in celebrations.
Yeah, included in celebration. And I think this is one person who becomes a family member immediately. Most couples, when they come with their children, they often introduce you as saying, he's the one who saw you first.
So tell me, doctor, has there ever been a time when you were disappointed that you couldn't probably bring that child into this world the way you wanted to, or something happened which didn't translate into life?
Yeah, so there are lots of disappointments, because infertility treatment is never 100% successful. So you do have couples for whom you secretly pray that, oh, this couple really deserves to have a child. But unfortunately, for some reason, that treatment doesn't succeed. And you feel as as sad and sorrowful as they feel when they come out with the result telling you, oh, the blood test is not showing any pregnancy. So it is sad, but at the same time, I mean, we empathize with them, we participate in their sorrow, but at the same time, we have to detach ourselves because it's a very straining experience on the doctor that if you actually get too much involved, then it drains all your energy out. So I often tell my colleagues that we have to empathize, we have to be with them in the struggle, but at some point we have to disconnect also in their joy also and in their happiness also because we are also human beings, so we are also not like somebody who can have immense powers. And that is what I tell them, that I'm as human as you are, and I'm just trying, and I'm just making my skills that I've learned, that trained to use to try and help you. It's not that I've come with some God-given gift. It's not a God-given gift, it's a trained thing. So that's the difference. So there are good chances I can fail also, but patients understand when they see that you are also working hard, that you're taking care of all the small nitty-gritties to ensure that you get the best success. So even when it fails, I've had patients who have sent me thank you letters even when it has failed, understanding that you really worked hard on our case. Maybe it is destiny that it didn't work, but we know you sort of uh, did all the best that you could do to help us. And these are also patients, it's not only the patient who gets pregnant who refers you another colleague. There are lots of them who have not succeeded and they tell that lady that, this is a good doctor. He'll try all his best. Maybe it didn't work with me, but I'm sure it will work with you. So they are also the ones who actually encourage other women to try to have a baby. And especially in this lockdown period, I think a lot of us have introspected and realized that, ultimately it is the family that matters. Friends, colleagues are all there, but ultimately it's a family. When something like this may not happen in the next 50, 60, or maybe 100 years or so. I don't know, but at this time you realize how important it is to have a family, to have somebody whom you can call your own and sort of share whatever your apprehensions, your fears, your concerns, all that.
What are the major causes that you know because of which the couples may not be having children? What are the major causes according to you?
You want to know the real cause? The real cause is infrequent sex. There are so many other recreations now that sex is something which is infrequently done. A couple, when they want to have a baby, they plan to have a baby. And I often wonder, what do they mean? We plan to have a baby. We are planning for the last 1 year. So there's nothing that, so because I mean, now it's different when people are work from home, but when people used to travel at least for an hour or sometimes 2 hours each way to their work for 10, 12 hours. So by the time they came home, they were like exhausted, knackered, tired. So sex was last on the list. It was just eat, sleep, get up in the morning and run to work again. Lots of people work different shifts. So sometimes often the husband and wife don't meet also each other. Somebody is doing night, somebody is doing day, somebody's got a job which means that 20 days of the month the person is out of the house. So infrequent sex, and I ask them, do you have enough sex to come and tell me that you can't have a child? And you'll be amazed, more than half say no, we don't. We realize a problem, but there's no way we can change job, change schedules, or do anything. And that's why we want to be medically treated to
I
have a child.
This was more of a problem of a menopause and an andropause, not at the age that was so young.
No, no, no. At a very young age, also, because there are so many different recreation now. Everybody wants to watch Netflix, Amazon, new web series, WhatsApp, phone, chats. So there's so much more to do now.
Wow. Do you get women out of having children out of wedlock quite a bit?
They don't necessarily come to me because they would go to somebody who does routine gynecology.
I get that.
But there are lots of women now who want to be single parent.
Yeah.
So you do get a lot of women asking and telling me that I don't want to marry a man just to have a child, or I don't want to have a sex with a man just because I want to have a child. I want to have my child. So I want to be a single parent. There are lots of women who come with such requests, and I think everybody has their own rights and wrongs. As a fertility specialist, most people tell me their most intimate secrets of their bedrooms. So I don't judge anybody for their morality. I've never done that. I think they come as patients. They come with their problems, and as a doctor, it is my duty to try and help them. And
Wow.
that is how I look at it.
Wow, that's really, really very kind of you. Because in my understanding, there are many, many, many people and many, many, many secrets. And if
Yes.
someone who can hear it and keep it inside the vault
Yeah.
and never take it out, that's amazing. That's really amazing. I do know that you believe in God.
Yes. Absolutely.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have so many Ganeshas sitting in your.
Yes. So I think there's a supreme power. There is. You can give it any name. And I think he's got his own ways of working things out for all of us. And I think we all come with our own destiny. I strongly believe in that we all come with our own destiny. And I, I think we are ruled by some supreme being. And I fully trust that if anything is going right, also, it is with his consent. If things are not going right, also, it is with his consent. And maybe there's something that we can't see. We are being very, very short sighted. Maybe we don't know the big picture. So we are looking at only the small bump in the road, but he has charted the road for us. So I think we are just small actors playing our parts.
Wow. Do you believe in miracles?
Yes, I do.
And have you seen them happening?
Plenty of times. I've had couples where I tell them your chance is so poor that I don't think you should be trying, and they conceive. And I have had some couples where I tell them that wow, your chance is superb. I'm 100% sure you're going to get pregnant, and they don't. So I've seen good miracles happening. I've had this woman, and I think it is your positivity. I distinctly remember one patient who came to me, and because of her various illnesses and her gynec issues, I told her, I said, your chance of getting pregnant is very low. I didn't want to disappoint her by saying that her chances are good. At the same time, as a doctor, I wanted her to know where she stands before she starts the treatment. And she said, don't worry, doctor. I'm very positive. Minute I entered your clinic, I got such good vibes that I know I'm going to go with a child from you. So you do your best. You don't worry about the consequences or the outcome. But I'm telling you that I've got good vibes and I'm going to get pregnant. And she did in the first try itself. When I had given her less than 1% chance of getting pregnant.
Wow. Wow.
A- And she laughed at me when she got the report and she said, I told you ना मैंने बताया था आपको मैं तो यहाँ से बच्चा लेके ही जाऊंगी.
Wow.
So, science I feel has its limitations, but I think the positivity or the miracles or the supreme whatever power is infinite. So I feel, science has a limit and we end there, but this is boundaryless. So I always tell all my couples that, I'm telling you as a doctor, this is the scientific fact, but I'm also telling you that all these Ganeshas are going to bless you. So you be positive,
God.
but I need you to know as from science where you stand.
Wow. The last question: do you believe in love? Because
Yes,
and what
yes.
according to you?
I think love is an emotion between two people. It can be between a father and son, it can be between a brother and sister, it can be between a husband and wife, it can be between colleagues, it can be between subordinates. I, uh, I think it is a very, very big emotion. And I also believe that it it doesn't mean that if I love somebody I don't love somebody else. I think each of us has got infinite uh, dimensions to love different people at the same time with the same intensity.
Do you believe in monogamy or polygamy?
I think this is something which each person has to decide. I'm not saying that it is right or wrong. I think it depends on how you are brought up. It depends on what cultural background you are brought up with, what beliefs you are brought up. That is more important. I think as the world now goes ahead, there is nothing which is permanently right and there's nothing which is permanently wrong. So I think situations make things right and wrong. If it if it appears right to your conscience, it is right. Whether it appears right to your neighbor, it is immaterial. That and that I keep it for all things, whether polygamy or monogamy or what practice I do. At the end of the day, I think I'm answerable only to myself.
Absolutely.
I'm not answerable to anybody. And that is what sometimes I tell certain couples that this I'm telling you, I cannot do for you because I cannot accept this as a treatment for you. So I will not do it. Even if you pay me money and tell me do this for us, I cannot do it because I don't think it is right to do, and I will not do it because at the end of the day, I'm not only answerable to you. Yes, I'm answerable to you, but I'm answerable to myself first. So if I think something is right, I will jolly well go ahead and do it, even if the world thinks it is wrong. And that goes for many things besides having polygamy or monogamy.
What's your vision for tomorrow? Nobody knows how
I
the
think,
world and where the world is going today, but
you know, I
yeah,
mean, I think mankind has survived much worse than this.
of
It is
course.
not documented, so we really don't know. But I'm sure there must have been worse pandemics and worse epidemics than this, and we have survived it all. I think we also have to find an opportunity in every uh, disaster, I think. And this is an opportunity for us to understand how important it is to be healthy.
Yes.
This is very important because all what we are seeing is that we say the same COVID virus infects somebody and he doesn't have symptoms also. And the same virus affects somebody and they die. It is not like smallpox where everybody died.
So well said.
So this virus is a virus. How you react to the virus makes your outcome. And how you react depends on how healthy you are. If you are healthy, you will react well, you'll come out. If you're unhealthy, you will succumb to it. And that is what is very important. This virus has taught us that we have to look after ourselves. The second thing this virus has taught me that I can live with lot of things which I thought were completely necessary in my life.
Yeah, you're right.
I've lived for 9 months without certain things which I thought were basic necessities, and I've lived very well without them. So I think it has made me look at those things in a different way now. Maybe I will not buy them ever or use them ever now. It's also taught me uh, to calm down and to be patient. It's taught me some new hobbies, some new qualities in myself. So I've rediscovered a lot of things that I didn't know I had the passion for or the or the flair for. So I've rediscovered myself actually. So I think this was a good opportunity for us to take a pause because the way we were living our lives, we were just running around, not enjoying what we had, but wanting to grab something which was far away. But this thing really has made me open some of my cupboards, clean up things, and value certain things which were just left untouched for so many months.
Wow. Thank you so much. I have a very